I know we're going through, not just us, but everybody going through political, technical as well as political difficulties. As y'all know, we try to use every venue, to get the word out. You know what I'm saying? Even if possible, take 2 10 cans in a string and let the world know that we live and direct on Freedom on Radio, Intellectual Radio. You can still call in on us at 708-223-8953. Weekly program hosted by the Black Panther Party Cubs. I guess it's national, better yet, international news. And some of y'all on Facebook, y'all will be seeing this later when we repost it back up, from my different avenues, YouTube Live, you name it. However, Facebook and Instagram, they say are going through some difficulties right now. I don't think it's no coincidence. Because reality is, in particular with our community, our people, these various outlets, part of a social engineering, and as long as just for partying and just chopping it up. But as soon as people start seeing these venues being used to address some issues in our community, difficulties happen. Stuff starts to happen. So, however, we're gonna keep on. We're gonna keep on doing what we do and putting the word out. So again, even if y'all catch this after tomorrow, you see on posted on Facebook, we say the politics is like it's unlike food, milk, what have you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no expiration date on it. You know what I'm saying? Like you listen to a Tupac song right now. Say, you know what I'm saying? Man, I missed that. Just catching up with it. It's still relevant. So issues we talking about is still relevant. Take a pause for the calls. Stop. So let everybody know. Open the front windows, the back doors. Let them know that we locked and loaded for another episode. Definitely want to extend condolences. You know what I'm saying? Revolutionary condolences out. Getting back to back. It's words on number of deaths yesterday, and not to even mention or even imagine the ones that we're not even familiar with. I think 2 days ago, 79th and Paulina, south side of Chicago. I think 3 shot. I'm not sure the fatalities. 47 in Cottage Grove at the McDonald's drive-through. Some others shot. And we struggle not to become immune or see this as the norm. In fact, Assata Shakur has said, being oppressed, you must continuously remind yourself to struggle to be able to distinguish what's normal and what's abnormal. This ain't, as Marvin Gaye said, this ain't living, y'all. This ain't living. We throw out these stats and facts. You know what I'm saying? We say it's political. Don't never let it get it twisted. It doesn't impact us personally. Personally also. Want to extend club and community condolences. In fact, Sister Comrade Queen Daphne just, her father's, we got worried about her father's passing yesterday. And we got to chop it up with her briefly for a minute, but the funeral services, I'm going to pull it up and we're going to announce that we need people to be at, and throughout the show and be announcing a few more sad, regretfully say, updates on those, to make those transitions, people that we know, people close to us, so on and so forth. And we say everything is political, even life. Life as well as death. You know what I'm saying? The healthcare, we don't care healthcare that our people are subjected to. What do we, it's risky behavior just being black in our community, you know what I'm saying? And even how we discussions range from infant mortality rate to, how our people are dealt with and treated in the senior citizen homes, so on and so forth. So, we relate to Field Marshal George Jackson, the Black Panther Party, stated that there are no guaranteed tomorrows. So we did want to make sure, so we acknowledge those, who impacted our lives, and we don't view individual situations in the I say this like simply in a reactionary sort of way. One of the philosophical tools that we utilize is dialectical materialism, and amongst other things, what dialectical materialism provides us the ability to do is to recognize that things are constantly evolving as well as they are dying and disintegrating. Also, the impact that individuals and situations have on our lives. We can't, regardless of the individual is able to place his or her finger on that and say, okay, this is how this impacted me. Music, situations, so on and so forth. I make a joke about it. I say, I remember, as a youth, literally trying to hold my hands down when I spoke, because I would be moving my hands, and I remember us being in the basement, and guys they trip on the night and say, "Champ, you have us go over there." As soon as we start laughing at some of the clothes the Panthers had on back then, you want to beat everybody up in the basement. We throw the VHS tape in there. But even seeing Chairman Fred speak, and I said, "Man, this the business. I'm cool with talking fast and moving my hands. This is what it is." I said in a joking way, we come back from comrade Daphne's pop's house one time, and she's giving me one of situations or daily situations that one of his events she had with her pops, and I know I'm paraphrasing it, but just this whole, like, he had this ideology, like, oh no, this a black person supposed to be doing this, and they say no, ain't no doctor supposed to be this, and some of the healthcare person that came through said, oh, who are you? This you don't supposed to be here. And we had a whole layout. And I joked with Daphne. I said, man, you have a chance. This was through the door. You know what I'm saying? And it just really, it's important that we be able to draw some correlations in our lives, our lives to people. You know what I'm saying? This is I'm using this term loosely. This is a generation. This is a time now in which a lot of connections are not made. How it impacts us, I spoke about before how I met this sister who had the same last name, and I said, I asked her, so where your family, where your people from? And this is something we grew up with. We asked people, like, in fact, now it was like common for us to make the yearly treks down the summertime, go down south, and you would know this. And however, now it's not even common to know where our families come from, our family history, so on and so forth. And you know what I'm saying? And not there's a lot of times people talk about this. We need to know the people need these people need to know about Africa, so on and so forth. They say it in a way that's really not connected to acknowledging some of the contradictions that are here today, that we are subjected to today. And again, we got to struggle like to tie it in our everyday conversations, and that's what forces that's I've been fortunate to come into contact that how we have to engage in, not in a disconnected way. And even the family members, they themselves don't know. You know what I'm saying? Again, an impact, and I'm just wanting to again we send out condolences and just recognize the impact and appreciate and express our appreciation for the impact that Daphne's daddy had on her. And because the deal is none of us, no situation simply comes out of a vacuum or just pops up. Again, dialectical materialism is a philosophical tool that we utilize. It takes even situations, good, the bad, and the ugly. Individuals, people say, I remember going to school. I remember hearing this music. I remember we have now, cats don't even, you don't even hear conversations about their first heartbreak. You know what I'm saying? You don't even go through. I've met people who don't even. I've been in conversations with people who said they never had a fight in school. And I said, man, and you think about that, how it impacted you. These are necessary dynamics, your relationships, breakups, what I'm saying, your best friend, all that. And what I'm saying, and even now, ironically, with this, I'm about to use this analogy, even with this whole social media breakdown. I mean, it's some serious breakdowns that's happening because with this. You can believe that. You can believe that. You can believe. I mean, there's they just had a post recently where it was what psychologists was even saying, clinical psychologists was saying that the children do better with the old games that people do, like the hopscotch, the double dutch, the hands on. We have children who don't have that. You know what I'm saying? Who don't have that. Who don't have those relationships, so on and so forth. And so even in terms like friends, people get, they get real like it can be liberal. They're gonna say, okay, well, I got 4,000 friends, but never in a contested situation. Never in a contested situation. And to this day, I can recall my my guy, my best friend. Which school year we were at, and so on and so forth. So again, the politics of life, death, and you name it, you dig all that. And again, it's clinch fist condolences. I think we can't tune in, call in 292-947-73785 and also 708-223-8953. Let's make history. Let's tape history. Them shutting no Facebook down, no Instagram, no stop us. You know what I'm saying? Again, we come out of us using 2 tin cans in the string. So be it. So be it. Throughout the show, I'm giving us some more shout outs and clinch fist condolences to a number of other people we got word forces who lost loved ones. 2019, 100 years later. 100 years later. How far they've come, how far we come in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Chicago, which remains to be one of the top segregated cities in the country. And I say this is important. We talk about such dynamics as the Chairman Fred, who organized the Rainbow Coalition. In fact, I've been in a situation with Donald Sterling. Before he was exposed, where he came from, the former owner of the Clippers. And just even hearing his discussion is how you reference race. I said in a joking way, I said he's from Chicago. The race dynamic is been up front. And one of the places I've seen the racism real more blatant, I think Boston, yeah. But the race dynamic has been upfront here in Chicago, and it's embedded in history. You know what I'm saying? It's embedded. In fact, I think what's that dude named Roland Martin had made a comment. He said he had never heard of a place. And there was an actual shopping area. The people refer to as Jewtown that was down by Roosevelt and Halsted. And people say it wasn't even like seen as being racist. It was acknowledging different dynamics. Like I said, even growing up, I recall on the bus, on public transportation. If I went to rest on the bus and I woke up and seen white people, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna miss my stop." And it impacted geography, transportation, communication, schools, everything. So it's something that again that is not limited to Chicago. It's international. However, it's up front here. And you look at the history. History. And we talk about the 100-year acknowledgement, 100-year anniversary. Something what we refer to as 100 years later. The infamous Chicago race riots. You know what I'm saying? And which people who you look at the inside of the picture for the flyer, for today's flyer, that's the young Mayor Richard Daley. Young Daley, not Daley Jr. That's Richard M. Daley Sr. And his connect with the Hamburgs. Hamburg is a city in Germany. In fact, this is Chicago's sister, one of Chicago's sister cities. The Paris also with Hamburg. Hamburg was the gang that Daley Sr. ran with as a child. And the infamous Chicago 1919 riots. There are different rumors. They say it's sparked, but a lot of people say it was rumored that a black child had crossed the line, the cutter line for the water, to swim, and it's something the politics of water, like how you look at so it's a famous case in which Chairman Fred had got out in Maywood about the swimming pool, in which we're gonna need y'all to put this on y'all calendars. June 10th, we're gonna be heightening and reminding us of some of these contradictions. June of this year, so we'll need y'all to come out to Maywood to the Hampton House. We'll be updating y'all. But black children were not allowed to go to the swimming pool in Maywood. Chairman Fred challenged that, exposed it, and they don't supposed to name the pool in his honor. But we gonna still do some present day contradictions. But you look at even like how there's another infamous picture rather, that people will see floated through our social media. It was some I forgot what pool this was, where the owner would come through and he threw acid in the pool after black children had got inside the pool. And this is, so like there are a lot of dynamics you can look at and say, no, like it's a graphic politics to that. Even the way a lot of assassinations or quote unquote strange deaths have occurred. A.D. King, the brother of Dr. King, who was an avid swimmer, they say he just drowned in the pool. Rodney King, You know what I'm saying? Right after the settlement, you know what I'm saying? For the lawsuit that was filed in regards to the semi the initial non guilty verdict in Semi Valley about the LAPD beating Rodney King, and Rodney King himself, who was in a relationship with one of the jurors on the civil case, and coincidentally he supposed to drown in the pool. You know what I'm saying? And like even a lot of famous entertainers and athletes, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, with their children in the pools. It's a politic to that. But this was they say it was the origins of what kicked the infamous 1919 race riots. And again, amongst those, you had the dailies, and this is something. This is embedded in the history, in the concrete. It's built into the bungalow houses. It's woven into the streets, the Walcott. You know what I'm saying? And the area. You know what I'm saying? Like even Cicero, the names of the streets, they're political. Some of y'all may recall the fight that was waged 2008 to have the street named after Chairman Fred Hampton. In the big uproar, a lot of people say, whoa, they got streets named after Hugh Hefner, Reverend such and such, Professor such and such. Why don't they want the street named after Chairman Fred? So everything is political, including street signs, including that swimming pools, and also the question of races, how you see race, how you deal with race. It's political. There are some locales with tend to put this liberalism, like, well, we don't acknowledge it. If we don't say it doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? We don't, or as they refer to during the Obama administration, a post-racial society. This is again a city that where the same said Mayor Richard Daley heralded in Chicago held Congressman Charles Dawson, is one of the first black congressmen. You know what I'm saying in Chicago. However, they didn't put out a lot of contradictions about, you know, so the relationship that the precinct captains had, like even with the black community, that still to this day impact our people. Like black people go to the polls to this day. Well, if they go to the polls, it's not uncommon that people say they you vote for the judge, the Irish name, so on and so forth. And it's the way race has been viewed and dealt with in entertainment, you name it. It's blatant, and it was blatantly expressed. It was blatantly expressed 1919. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts about what, you know, the race riots in 1919. The fact, you know, what I'm saying, whose political careers were fast forward up as a result of their participation in it. The history of Bronzeville, the history of what Sam Cooke grew up in, the history of Bridgeport with the Daly family, had generation after generation, you know what I'm saying, was there. Remember the Leonard Clark case. So drawing a correlation from then as to what is now. And also looking at such monumental moves and groundbreaking moves where Chairman Fred Hampton was able to take various organizations, you know what I'm saying, and grapple and deal with not only the race but also the class contradiction. From the Young Lords, the Young Patriots, the Stones, Disciples, Vice Lords, so on and so forth. Put in the correct context. You know, so let's talk about. So let me know y'all input on that. Also, meritorious manumission. Meritorious manumission. Now, if you can't touch on this before, it was an actual law that derived in Virginia, 1710. 1710, Virginia, 1710. Virginia, 1710. And this is where the colonialists, the slave masters, would acknowledge and give a person their freedom. They're based for a number of things, but in particular, if a black person turned over another black person who's attempting to run away, gain their freedom, turned them in, snitched on them. Or if a black person made an invention, created something in which the white people, you know what I'm saying, could say that they created. I always said that I just didn't jive with the idea about Eli Whitney creating the cotton gin. You know, back to dialectical materialism. I said I just couldn't see during this era of chattel slavery with all these Africans out there picking cotton, and this white dude laying back to him, how could I figure out some machine to, you know what I'm saying, to wove and, you know what I'm saying, pick the seeds about this cotton? You know how I can see, it just didn't jive with me. So you can imagine who got that. Just get, I mean, some concepts, you know, some concept of freedom. Also, was another reading, to betray one black person, to create an invention. Oh, save the life of a white person. Are you able to be granted meritorious manumission? on merit. White people say, okay, now you're free based on this action that you've done. And on the flyer, today's flyer, we talk about that. You know what I'm saying? You look historically at people whose careers, whose livelihoods have been advanced at the expense of what? And it trickles down to our community where there's a mindset where people engage in a mindset where you have to chop your tree down in order for my tree to grow. This is the politics of this system. One comes at the expense of another. If you don't make it, you know what I'm saying? You look at who's doing the interviews now, who's covering the stories now, who's being raised up. In fact, for the show, it was Oprah Winfrey, image of Michael Jackson. A lot of people was like, she shouldn't have done this, on and so forth. This is a machine. You know what I'm saying? And it's the facade of freedom. You know what I'm saying? But those directors are going, they know who to bring it to. They know they can see it in their eyes. It's like the movie, but the pimps, the guy say he can ride through the street and just look at a person's eyes and see if that person's willing to go. This state, they have psychological profiles. They know who to, you know what I'm saying, who to use is the tools. Like you look at these, right after, in response to these uprisings, rebellions in Milwaukee, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Ferguson, automatically say, whoa, where did this black superintendent police chief come from? You know what I'm saying? You're like, dude was a janitor yesterday. How did he just become the police spokesperson for the department? You look at Starbucks, you say, well, hey, this black woman, she's a spokesperson for Starbucks. I know that. These are different, you know what I'm saying? These are developments that happen overnight at the result, you know what I'm saying, of resistance that happened. And so again, these are the different dynamics people talking about the price of success. You have some of these characteristics talked about in such summations, the Illuminati and different things. People say, okay, they call it sacrifice, on and so forth. But this is the history of this system, And so I want to use this, to heighten the conversation in its correct context. So Comrade Daphne, we got any callers on queue? Fremont, and also again, condolences again. Continue club community condolences to you, and feel I ain't gotta say this, but you know what I'm saying, man, jump in. You want to jump in, however, you know what I'm saying. But definitely the funeral services, for your pops is when and where? 100.
The funeral service is gonna be Saturday the 23rd, and it's from 10 to 12, and it's at 123rd, 12301 South Michigan. I think it's called they had them church names, had them long names.
Second.
Timothy of the
right.
I'm like, what? The who? And it's strange, Jim, actually, we had to have it there because my dad, he practiced as a Jehovah's Witness.
They
told us, we want to respect that thing, but they told us we can't speak in his funeral if we did it at him. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
His location.
Wow.
So, we can't even talk. Well, okay, we
Oh.
That wasn't up here. So ended up out yonder. So Saturday the 23rd.
And we gonna do it too. So we gonna do a community thing also. You know what I'm saying? And
definitely, please.
Yes, indeed. I'll just sit back. Give us the ideology. The breakdown is the summation. How because this wasn't just no shooting the dice. So, okay, yes, okay, now yes indeed, we here, yes.
CNA nurse could only be Hispanic, specifically. His homemakers could only be black. His regular doctor has to be a black male doctor, and his foot doctor has to be a white doctor because that's all the white man can do is play with his feet. And the thing is, they comply with it.
Right. Because
So he had a Filipino nurse, he had Hispanic CNA, his black home care, his black regular doctor, his white podiatrist.
And he wasn't antagonistic with her. If one of them came and he said, "No, this not nothing personal, but this what you doing here? This ain't your field."
Like, no, I didn't know. You ain't who they supposed to be sending. You didn't hear a call right there. Call you, have them call. This is not what we're supposed to do. He wouldn't say, he said, medicine wasn't paying good at school. I mean, just all types of stuff. Yeah, Dad. I feel like Daddy really, he like, yeah.
What?
He gives his own explanation to me with it. I just so hard support
right.
work, and they went with it. That's the whole thing that cracked me up.
Right.
And, you know what? I almost want to give him a shout out. They were so compliant and good. and he was mad, and they would send him what he wanted. And they would just start saying, man, the old man was something. That's just how he was. His thing. He had a thing. He ain't like white people.
And this is important. He ain't cut no corners. I think it's important to acknowledge too, like so a lot of people saying they may come into contact with his daughters just so, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what Daphne on? This is important to have a background, you know what I'm saying? What we dealing with, you know what I'm saying? so y'all know who that. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Well, again,
I have to think about it myself. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Just cut.
Right. Because you look at to another person, you can see it. Right. Man, we just we.
I told myself he was raising hell yesterday.
Yeah. Well, yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's a number. My kids said they were going to call in. They make sure they is. We just talking about them, and they're like, yeah, we miss them, but man, we got stories. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That they have just, my dad, period.
Hey, tell them to call in. We encourage it. Because, again, this is, we're deprived of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, from family photos, you know what I'm saying, conversations, you know what I'm saying, I just said, I met this sister last name Hampton. She didn't know what part of the South her family had derived from. And, this is, and most of, being the fact that our people in particular, our generation, we all this new thing, they talking about the DNA, check this. We are that such and such, and such and such. She tell us, you know what I'm saying? That's such and such, you know what I'm saying? We knew the family secrets and all, so we knew who was who, you know what I'm saying? Oh no, that's Uncle such and such, who was the go-getters. And it's important, I think, that we acknowledge the significance of that. Like, even this discussion about Facebook and the forms of social media being shut down today, man, it's kind of like I guess some of my parents probably looked at it was good that the TV broke down sometimes. You know what I'm saying? To get back to that, that type of dialogue, that type of discussion, because the deal is a lot of people can't even communicate. We don't even know each other. You know what I'm saying? And so I encourage know the history. You know what I'm saying? Know the history. That's long. To our people. I mean, just in our families. Just in our families. And it's, you know what I'm saying?
My daddy did that too. That's what they make sure we know. Like our family. Like my dad was the last set of kids.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather had a total of 23 children. Died in 4 families.
Yeah.
Oh, my daddy was something. My granddaddy wouldn't. So, like my dad, yeah. So I ain't steal none of this shit. So this is clear that why I am me. Oh, trust me. Shit, I ain't had no choice. You know what? I didn't say. You know what? I guess I ain't had no choice. Anyway, my granddad, he would, get in trouble, do shit. He like white people either. So he would always have to run from jail and change his name and stuff. So he still his family every time he did it.
Yeah.
What they made sure was that they all still know each other.
My
dad had brothers and sisters older than my grandmother because my grandmother was the last wife.
Okay.
My dad, he had brothers and sisters older than her. He had a lot that passed on, and some still living around in their 90s. I may have 2 of those, but all of the kids, we know each other. We know, like, my grandfather and their lineage, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's always has been the thing of where what we came from. And I know my grandfather's father, Richard Smith, out of Virginia, and he was born into slavery in 1862. So my grandfather was born in 1896.
Okay.
And then in that, I don't have it documented, but them knowing that, and his father and mother both part of the transatlantic. And even one say, "Oh, it has stopped." No, it hadn't. You know what I'm saying? My uncle, well, he did now. I guess they argue down on that one, and that passed through. And then my grandfather's father and my grandfather himself, because we lost him like in 77, 76 or something like that. You know, at his age, and he was 96 in 1896. But all of those, so all of my cousins and uncles and all those, even from the other families. So we're the Jacksons, the Humphreys. It started Smith and Humphrey. Then he was James John Johnson, and then Jackson. Yeah, so Smith, Humphrey, Johnson. I think he did James Johnson and John Johnson, and ended with as James Jackson. And that was all the names. And so we all know it. We're in Arkansas, Alabama, Virginia, and then Chicago, Indiana. Yeah. And that's where we all spread out. Yeah, so it was the thing that we all know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All the kids.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, same name, but you know what?
Yeah.
That's the thing that's there. So it's just that history in itself that I have with even the half brothers and sisters and like all the cousins and things like that. Man, it's many. We stopped having family reunions though, because pretty much all of us almost got our grandfather personality. And I'm telling you, it was.
Oh man, I love him. This. Yeah.
You know I'm a clown kid, right? I can't even wait to film. Because you know them Jacksons, like I know them Jacksons. Like I said, we done had about.
Let's just say it ain't gonna be no episode. It ain't gonna be no episode of Soul Food. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't gonna be, and it's unfortunate that my dad. It was just it's March, December, November. So 6 months ago that we lost my aunt, his sister Mary, and then last February his brother, and then like 6 months for that, and then in between last 6 months, two of my first cousins. So my dad is like about the 6th or the 7th in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
So they just become a kind of solemn. But yeah, it's been unfortunately, but at the same time, boy, you still get the entertainment.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's there, and you gotta love it. Look, I say you gotta love it, but I say that's my old man though. Our oldest old dude, but like I said, boy, he tell you some shit. You go for some advice,
right?
You can just be like, never mind. Don't get your ass in trouble. I'm not going to jail. You want to tell me don't do that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Man.
I was like, dude, you daddy. We is not finna go through this shit here.
Right.
We're not finna have it. But yeah, like I said, I think I see my son on the line. Every do I bring him in?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that was probably his close. He gonna say he the favorite, but
y'all be humbugging about that tonight, then. Who we got online with us now? Yes, sir, we hear you, my brother. Who is this? Who we got? Is his nephew? Who we got online? Who's online? Hey, what it is, man? Hey, I hear you loud and clear. First and foremost, can you hear me? First and foremost, our condolences. We say, Black Panther Party Cub and community condolences to you, to you and your family, y'all lost, man. And we don't cut no corners here, man. So we get your mama online. We just going down memory lane. We say, everything is political, man. So we just relating. The people's pain reflects. The people's pain reflects. So So we just open up the airwaves. Just old war stories, just whatever you want. About your papa. Yeah.
Yeah. it is what it is. You know, you're wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah.
He was that was an amazing dude, man. And I was saying that the other day, like, you know, like it ain't too many people, you know, out here that, you know, we both some men nowadays, so it ain't too many people that we look up to. But I was like, man, I was like, for real, like this nigga did. I mean, excuse my language, this man did everything.
Big.
Like, and he had both ways, both sides. You know, they never have to be no square man or no timid man.
Right.
Man, you know, yeah, you know, he showed. It was like I can see that you could be a man far in the streets and not be in the streets and committing crime, but still, you know, in tune with your community and you know, just being you.
Yeah.
Time taking care of your family.
Yeah.
You know, and like keeping that separate. He did that.
How many how many like your counterparts or cats, you know, around your age range, you know what I'm saying? Do you know that got you know that had a relationship? Do you know had a relationship with their grandfathers? You know what I'm saying? And now actually even fathers too. Like how was it? Were you? Huh? Say it again. Yeah. 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 Real talk. Yeah. Yeah.
Despite that image he's had in the hall or whatever, I knew my grandkid. I thought about man because he'd be telling me some biblical stuff, and I don't know how you gonna switch to how you gonna shut niggas. He had touched everything, like you know, like touch souls and like people and that people, man. It's like you cannot help but remember that man. If you met him, you cannot help. You can't forget him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that one time.
Yeah.
You can't forget the man. You know, and like I was saying, I'm blessed to know my grandfather.
Right on.
And was able to, you know, really
yeah.
walk around.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know, son, it's okay for you to share some of them unofficial stories about
this film already. We good. Yeah. And, right. We can talk about it now. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to talk about it now. You know, yeah. Yes, indeed. We can talk about it. So he had to handle that business.
Man, he was a fool. It was like his man. Like I said, he worked his job. He worked for real. Well, he did his thing, but he he did his thing in the streets too. You know, like he made his money dirty and clean.
Yeah.
And from what I was told, like everybody I ran across told me strange things. So I'm like, this man is the truth. That's why I'm like, he don't even know how much I tried to get to myself about him. Not even my father. I don't care how much. Like my mother was like, yeah, my father. Like I was trying to find it. You know.
Yeah.
Like any way he went, he was making a way.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Like she said, I lost my uncle and auntie this last year. I lost like 3-4 of my guys this year. So you know, it's been a tough year.
Yeah.
And like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We say, you know what I'm saying, February of Black History, when we say black people on the verge of becoming history, man. And just, you know, it's I was over here, I was one of these grocery stores one time, and I heard these, I think they said it was from Greece. And they asked the guy asked the lady her name, and she was explaining her name. It's a family, it's a practice in their culture that the granddaughter or the grandson would take on the grandfather's name or something. And these are different things that they put in place to make sure that, you know, that they live on, that they legacies and they live on, it lives on, you know. And I'm just, like I said, I was speaking earlier about, you know, like how it just, man, everything from this gentrification, this land grab, how they moving us around, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to keep, we can't keep up with no photo albums, no paperwork, no no communications or none of that. You know what I'm saying? And just even the you know what I'm saying? Real talk. And then we got like a lot of grandfathers and grandmothers. They don't be fooling around on no social media. And a lot of us, if you ain't no talking to me on social media, can't have no conversation with you. So all these are different dynamics of social engineering and breaking us up. And I'm just really, I'm glad to hear, you know what I'm saying, that that impact, and so and that you able to speak how it impacted you, and just the struggle to relay that down. You know what I'm saying, to the one that's coming up on your offspring and the offspring that come behind you. Just saying that we lay this out to them, man, because man, it's it's an African saying. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like my father went too much around, My father, I call him Pops. Like, so that's who we talking to, what I know.
Yeah.
So like that president, man, that's what I can say. As a young man, like you'll be surprised. Like the money ain't about money. You know, only money. Like doing shit is a thing. You got somebody got your back. You need to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big support. Like, they got my back, man. Like, even when like I said, my uncles and my grandfather, like they worked, but it's not like they had no money or money, but
right.
They had my back.
Yeah. Yeah. And your mom, she was commenting earlier. We was talking about like, like even I talk about this. I speak about this a lot of times too. And talk about like you hear people say terms like the Great Migration. I said no, I don't think we just left down south on GP. I don't think we just said this though. Because a lot of us was ran from up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Lynched, murdered, rape, you name it. And that's embarrassing. But the deal, it impacted us in so many ways. And so we had to adapt and be innovative on who can pick up the role. Like, even that beginning of that movie, Nat Turner, 18, and they talk about like how to at any moment's notice we got to bounce up out of it. We know today, so we got to warn, get locked up. You know what I'm saying? And but so I'm just again to lead them that impact, that imprint. You know what I'm saying? And just stuff that a lot of us take for granted. I mean, just the walk. I learned. I mean, I still do it wrong. Like even technically on shaving. You supposed to go with the grain. I still be going against the grain, but I overheard cats talking about that. You know what I'm saying? And this it impacts us. You know what I'm saying? Just and not the brothers with the sisters. You know what I'm saying? That whole even they with animals. They say, raising an orphan horse is difficult because it doesn't know things, how to trot, how to walk, you know what I'm saying? And it's stuff that we take for granted, and that people just think that somebody comes in, they know to do this, they know to do, they know this, and as we speak, and I'm just, thinking back, like, my grandfather's funeral, you know what I'm saying? I'm just this may be connected but not connected. I'm just had a flashback now, even him. Me and my mother just make a joke about this. This is my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, her father. And it was we talking about shooting and stuff. I don't know if she called in. She might tell. They stayed in the projects, and him and this guys be hunting and stuff. And they had little libations one night. They sitting there, and they busting. They think they hunting a rabbit. I'll tell you, it's a white man running across the park, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm thinking about even him. One time I got mad. I was going to high school. And he came by the house. So me and my little guy, we cutting school. And so he come in the house. My mom's had left to work. So he said, "What you going?" I said, "I'm about to head to school." And he said, "All right." He said, "I'll take you up there." So I said, "Damn." And I said, my little guy, I told him, "Wait till I get back." So I told him to hide up in the closet. He got a bottle of booms for him up in that closet. My grandfather dropped me off at Tilden and dropped me off at house, dropped me to school. So I go out the back door, don't go to the division, none of that. I get all the way back to the house. My man in the closet lit up drunk all the booms for him up. You know what I'm saying? But that's different things. Like I think you can't that you can't you take out our life these experiences, you know what I'm saying? That moments, you know what I'm saying, it could change, or you know, that could be that one misstep, you know what I'm saying, how we walk, how we talk, you know, so everything, man. So I'm just again just to be it's a sad reality that you are fortunate even have, you know, with the grandfather, because like I say, we can't you hear people use terms like generational wealth. In other communities, other people talk about that, like, you know, oh man, you make sure you leave something for your children. It's hard. We hard pressed to go from one generation to another generation without our mother not have to put our house up for mortgage to bond somebody out of jail, or, you know, so the father ain't got to go on a run, what have you. You know what I'm saying? We hard pressed that, you know what I'm saying, or we don't get into it. You know what I'm saying? That we don't have no family courts and Dr. Fields that we can. I mean, it was one guy told me about these famous artists one time. They had a family situation. They all are artists. They biological brothers, three of them, and they had he rented out a whole big hotel. I was sitting down with the family. I said, "Damn, that's a hell of a move to be able to do that." You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, we don't have that to be able to deal with our contradictions. You know, and I just again, I really appreciate you laying out in a layman's table, in plain language. You know what I'm saying? Impact and again, it's important to put this in context. Like I said, our counterparts, it's not common for us to have, you know, to have my grandfather's father, so on and so, mothers, you know what I'm saying? And it's getting more and more intense. You know what I'm saying? You know, man. Well, man, I just we here, man. We here. We gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? We gonna be there. We there. You know what I'm saying? So, man, y'all keep us posted. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no expiration date on the pain of the loss. So, you know what I'm saying? Don't, you know what I'm saying? 2 months from now, you might want to feel something come up. Hey man, I got this memory. You know what I'm saying? I want to chop back in on this here. I just seen this show. I heard these guys. I seen these shoes out here. You know what I'm saying? It's my grandfather's shoes, and I thought about you know, and I wanted. I heard you make a comment or something. I want to talk about this. I want to correlate this. So he said this, and you know what I'm saying, about family this impacted. So we attempted. So the airways are open, and that goes for you. That goes for you. That goes for our listeners, our people, y'all. The people's pain reflects. We attempt to put this in a political capsule. You know what I'm saying? We say we all have a pain. We say, man, we should get that baggage. Say that, man, throw it in the trunk. We gonna ride to freedom. We gonna tap. We gonna put we gonna put the blame, or who gave us this baggage. You know, so we gonna call it out. Who divided our families, who ran our grandfathers and aunties, you know what I'm saying, from their homes and ripped themselves from and forced them to sharecrop, who divided, you know what I'm saying, for the buck and winch process they did. You know, I remember this brother told me I was locked up. I remember him asking, he said he was down south and he asked his grandmother. He said, "Grandmama, why is Uncle such and such so dark and Auntie such and them, everybody's so light?" You know, and she said, "Baby, it's a lot of things that it hurts to talk about that occurred." You know, and the brother, so he caught it what she was saying, and you know, and I talked to the brother, and I said that we should have an anger impended on the system, the masters, the colonialists, the machine that's done this to us, that has embedded into us to the day that a lot of us think that, you know, something we done on our own. Other communities, the Nazi Germany, they say that the SS and SA, they created the ghettos. They gotta think we created the ghettos. They think we just, you know, like I heard some people say, "Your daddy went to jail." I said, "No, he didn't go to jail. He was taken. He was kidnapped. You know, and placed in jail." You know, our families just didn't, you know, just didn't dissipate, just didn't fall apart. You know what I'm saying? Attacked. You know, we just ain't no growing in prison industrial complexes. We've been kidnapped. And we want to struggle to put that, you know what I'm saying, in layman's terms, and everybody be able to relate to that, you know what I'm saying? And on this plantation, we want to struggle to get the, you know what I'm saying, to make sure the pros outweigh the cons, you know, because the deal is a lot of us got to do some things, you know what I'm saying, to survive, you know what I'm saying? But, and also we got to distinguish something like I said, a lot of cats, you know, motherfuckers be cool with picking cotton the master's ass all day, but our thing is, we want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, we want to organize, you know what I'm saying, to get free, and so we can, we can have families and conversations and grandfathers and grandmothers and mothers and sisters on, on our own terms, and not dependent upon what's politically correct or what grant is coming down and how, what they define as a nucleus family, how us chasing the American dream, you know what I'm saying, and recognize our reality, you know what I'm saying, and don't blame us. Say, well, I don't understand what my mama name ain't Blondie, my father name ain't Dagwood, I ain't got no dog named Benji in my house or Lassie, you know what I'm saying, and say, no, motherfucker, we need a dog to be security to watch the door, you know what I'm saying, ain't no pit bull. But we here, man. We here, nephew. So, you know what I'm saying? So again, we live and direct on Freedom on Radio. We talking about a number of things. We talking about meritorious manumission. We talking about the race riots, 100-year anniversary of the race riots, Chicago, 1919. We talking about, brother, a grandfather, a father, and amongst other things, you know what I'm saying? A kid who didn't cut no corners, you know what I'm saying? And as Comrade Daphne just laid down the ideology about, man, it's a science to this. You talking about, man, there's a difference between a foot doctor and a regular doctor, you know what I'm saying? And stood on it. Stood on it. Stood on it. Yes, indeed. Any more comments, Conrad or nephew?
Like I said, man,
Go ahead, man.
We hear you, nephew. We hear you.
I mean, all I say, man, is to comment on my grandfather, man, he wasn't nothing I see that man not being able to do. You know, like the last couple years, about my lifespan, he's paralyzed. And he was still able to do more, like those who have poor, and, like controlling his body.
He was still, say it again, nephew. He was still able to do what? Right there. Okay. Right there. Okay. Hello? My fault, nephew. I said it again. He was still able to do what? You there, nephew?
I'm saying, like, like he was, he paralyzed,
Yes.
He's paralyzed on half on his left side of his body.
Take your time, nephew.
Last, like, decade, 20 years, 10, 15, 20 years, like 15, 20 years, my bad. So, it's just like I said, it's nothing he couldn't do, man. It's like him being paralyzed. You couldn't tell him he was paralyzed, man.
Right on.
You couldn't tell him that, man.
Right on. Right on.
He didn't do anything, man.
Yes, indeed.
That's just, man. I don't know, man. That's a nice mentality to have, man. That's why, like I said, I can look up to him. You can't tell me I can't do nothing.
Right on. Right on.
Look, and if they did, the iron, what was that he carried around trying to fight that motherfucking body? What was it? A wrench or what was it?
What?
I forgot what it's called that they had to carry around. When you try to fight that motherfucking body, and you pull that motherfucker out, looks like a little pipe or something. Did he go with that shit? He's like, man. Yeah, he called it design. Man, he just pulled that motherfucker out. He didn't care.
See, he pulled that iron out on him in a minute.
In a minute, man. As soon as you just said, try to stretch, he's like, yeah, man, grab my iron. He just got 550 combos, come with it. That's my dude. But I used to watch him growing up, like, man, he say on his back, man. It's like his 50s, all 60s. He just sit down, lay on his back, and literally pump a 50-pound barbell.
What?
Every morning. Man,
wow.
Listen to me. I kid you not. This man is 50 something, paralyzed,
Yeah.
Get on a 50-pound bar.
Wow.
Hit that morning. Every morning, about 50 times, like 25 times a piece. You just come pick you up with one arm, like whole body, like that over my back.
Wow.
Like sad at the age and like some stuff got to him, but like I knew him. I could see it in him. I knew that power. No matter what, strong as he was,
Yeah.
And, it just makes it's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Something to look up to, like, man.
Yeah, Daddy didn't believe in finishing first. That was his thing. There wasn't no such thing as, I can't. Man, we used to get, say you can't do something, run from a fight or something like that, man, you got it. It wasn't no such thing as, you a lie. Look, that was like a no.
What?
That's my blessing. You got to show me where
I told my mama. I told my mom, I'm like, and now even Dad's spirit done changed planes. He now at this moment trying to tell them I'm gonna be the best bitch. I'm gonna be better than all you motherfuckers. That's how he roll. He just he comes to conquer. But man, he jumps.
Yes, indeed.
My daddy, look. What daddy told me, I told him, man, he said, I'm trying to remember the time that he was talking to me about me.
Hey, look, I was talking about that yesterday. Yeah. Go ahead. Stop. I was just talking about that.
I called my dad once. I said, Dad, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Sitting here trying to figure out what all the broken motherfuckers in the world do it.
Yeah.
It's like you never know what comes out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's like what did you just say? Look, my son, which son probably ain't gonna repeat it, but has a whole video of like with my dad and this conversation. This story, but like I say, something we really don't need to say on
right.
But man,
but he would talk. One granddaddy, and he talk like homies, man. Like he, like I want to say, I don't know if the children are listening, but man, the man used to have plans. He used to be like, man, it could be. He used to have problems with his wife. It's just my wife. He said it can't be me. I don't put the woman in my face about
So we try to figure out why your mama be so blunt and straightforward. Man, hey, you don't need. Man,
he is humble, but man,
right.
He never held back. That's where I think we get it from. I'm just I'm the real version of my mother. She got children so it ain't saying like, wow, but you need to have a voice.
Yes, indeed.
That's the one thing he did teach us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That it ain't no motherfucker said. My dad, and I was thinking one of my uncles on. My dad, he when UPS was beginning to drive high black drivers, he was one of the first ones. And they had to make him take a test. Of course, you know how they try to do that shit, right?
Yeah.
My dad, actually in that section, blacks and whites scored the highest. They said he cheated. And told me he had to take it again. My dad took that motherfucking score high on that motherfucker. And he drove for UPS because he drove for UPS during the night. The railroad, yeah. That's why his man, the thing, he used to stump him, and he just didn't believe that shit. Like, man, you don't bow down to no white people because that's what my granddaddy taught them. They got fucked up if they even called the white man, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That just wasn't an option in their life, you know what I'm saying? But they responded to, you know what I'm saying, what it is. That ain't just an option. You do better than them. That was his, that's how he looked, you know what I'm saying? He's supposed to have them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Because they ain't got shit flaky,
Yeah.
Man, that's how daddy was, that shit in he, man, we show him in a minute. Oh, don't let him challenge. I don't care where the fuck he at.
You're right.
I spit all types of shit. He talk more shit. Man, he gonna treat that, and he treat him. You know what I'm saying? In his way, he said, "My name is King Hosea Jackson." Or, they better call him Mr. or something. He don't allow for that shit. He didn't. Oh, they was going to respect him. That's where I got that from, man. If you don't get no respect, you take it. Period. Man, dad. But the way he did it was always, man, he was like my son said. I was like, man, Daddy, some of this shit, I don't think you should be saying to me. You know what I'm saying? But I give it to him too, and I was telling you, I said, it occurred to me about, the time I spent with my dad, caring for him, my dad talking, and how it occurred to me that when I was younger, I was a kid, I was 3 years old in the pool hall with my dad.
Did.
And then it just occurred to me that I did have 2 older brothers.
Right, yeah.
And it hit me, I'm talking to Dad, but you already knew through the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They wasn't cut from this cloth. They got slipped through on my mama's side of the family.
Yeah.
That's close, but I was the one that, you know what I'm saying, that my dad really, that I experienced my dad's street life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From everything because he worked on the job at the show. He go to CAB, go PCS. He worked for the railroad. That was the main job. You know what I'm saying? And then he hustled shit up and down 43rd. He was at 43rd Street and King Drive in the pool hall. And his spot was up on 42nd and Greenwood, and that's where he got shot at. And the guy who shot him, a situation that ironically, you know what I'm saying, one of the Chicago historical black gangsters, you know what I'm saying, that around 47th Street area, you know what I'm saying, when he got into it with them and all that shit went down. But he was, all up and through there, and I was actually there with him all the time. And I remember I was like 9. Yeah, I was 9, and it was right before my dad got shot. And I would just walk around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was here with my dad. My dad had got locked up, and my mama had sent us to Mississippi. My dad came down there and got me like, that's my baby. Y'all got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I remember I be walking around, and I heard these men say, I was just walking. This man said, where that little girl going?
Yeah.
I remember this shit. This is when, it be the moments when you find out your daddy was who.
Yeah.
Man said, oh, that's her Uzi daughter.
Yeah.
He said, oh, that's her Uzi daughter.
Yeah.
Man said, oh, there it was.
Big.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's I'm Halsey's daughter. You know what I'm saying? But that was, I know a lot of people won't, I know you dig it, Chair, but a lot of people won't see that, man. Like, yeah, I was proud of that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You know, shit.
Yes, indeed.
Like, I would say, well, that's Halsey's daughter. She good. You know, and it was, because I like the way my daddy just laid shit down. He did his thing, and that's why I love him for that shit. He didn't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why he felt or saw the need or foresaw whatever, you know what I'm saying, to make sure just, I guess I experienced the shit. I experienced all the shit I saw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, like I said, man, it was something. I just think about that shit. I mean, just cold shit. And I'm at this age, 5, 6, 7. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He taught me to read when I was 3. He thought, that's what he believed, pushed that, so, and not just taught me to read. I'm literally reading such encyclopedias. He made us read the encyclopedia. You know how they used to back in the
70s. Encyclopedia man come out. Yeah. Yeah.
And he bought them motherfuckers and the whole metal, and he made us read them.
Dang.
We had to read. You know what I'm saying?
I think we still got them damn things in the house.
Oh, for real?
I think so.
I had some, and when they took my shit out in the hundreds, they took them. Yeah. You still got some?
I'm almost sure he do. Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that was that man. Dad, he made us read them. But I was thankful for that. Yeah. But it be them times.
And also again them markers in life that I can't stress this enough. You know what I'm saying? Just that we and man, they hit us so hard. Our community. I mean, everything from just locking us up, general, the Department of Children and Family Services, kidnapping our babies. You know what I'm saying? Disorganize us, and I just I don't stress this again to our listening audience, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just make as Field Marshal George Jackson say, no guarantee tomorrows, man. Let's what I'm saying, make sure we make our marks in history. You know what I'm saying? Impact. You know what I'm saying, that people can a template. Because just even for think about the moves we make like for future generations. You know what I'm saying? That's even like our nephews. If we don't have biological children, some they can at least have a choice, to option, and they don't come in because we don't. They don't come in through with a messed up community credit card or a deficit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because the deal is financially, we all come in, and I mean, I came through the door. You know what I'm saying? In fact, Mumia, political prisoner Mumia Abu Jamal, has said to me on the interview one day, he said, well, your FBI file started. You see, as soon as you got here. And and the deal is, people asked me before, how does it feel to be the son of Chairman Fred? I said, to be sweated, be loved by the people and sweated by the who. But just that community, you know what I'm saying, another respect, like, you know what I'm saying, just again, it's I think we should at least give our offspring that, like, you know what I'm saying, man, that people say, man, no, they not cut from that cloth, and that's something that that you have a fighting chance, because we are as black people, we going against all odds through the door until we make it past the maternity. We get past the fetus stage. Okay, you making some moves. I mean, but what you got past the this in our community, the crack, the police and shoot you and shoot the mom in the head with you. So okay, you're almost there. Man, you got here now. What you came out the womb alive. You didn't. The Cook County Hospital, the Loretta, the Stroger Hospital, they didn't drop you or shoot you up or nothing for you. So already we come. The system is at our asses through the door. You know what I'm saying? Let's know. So to give that opportunity, so the reading to the youth at a certain at that age, you're talking about 3 years old. You know what I'm saying? To have that in the community, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this is, man, that's Halsey's daughter. You know what I'm saying? That to have so that dynamic. I was watching some piece the other day on YouTube. I think I talked about this last week. The guy was telling Alpo, Alpo, for those who don't know, this. I mean, he admits, he's on government payroll, and the guy say, the one little guy was telling one of his sons, he say, man, Dig, you really coming in as on a deficit, man. He say, see, your pops was a rat. He say you can't like people see you as a mouse. He say, so you coming as a deficit already. So kind of, man, you need to go keep it clean. So just again, just to be able to have that so people can have a option, and it's a bad time for good men and good women. You have I mean, I was saying, man, we was out yesterday just in the hood, and people just talking about different dynamics, and I said, man, it's a hunting season is on. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they locking up and they coming at people who ain't, you know what I'm saying, black folks who ain't even said they trying to challenge, who said they ain't got no backbone, they don't want no backbone. You know what I'm saying? They is coming at motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So and they don't forget. I mean, they come for generations. You know what I'm saying? They come for generations. You know what I'm saying? So we want to be at least some templates, some examples. So I mean, if there's an individual's cup of tea, to say, oh man, I'm just gonna motherfucker gonna buck out and bow out. You know, so be it. But let the record reflect. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to what propaganda, with news coverage, and there's been with history books on. Hey, Mother Comrade always talk about this whole thing. They talk about this content slave. Everybody just up with, you know what I'm saying? It's some other dynamics that's in our community. So I want to say this to these youngsters again. And you may got to search out something. You might got to go out and search for it. It might not be right there in your reachable. You know what I'm saying? You can, your close setting. You might get to reach. I remember a situation. Joliet. This back when I was locked up. Joliet and Stateville was geographically close, but they were politically a million miles away from each other. Joliet was transient. People, come in. The way the guards talked to was different dynamics. Stateville was headquarters. You had the Roundhouse, F-House Roundhouse. You had leadership there. Pontiac was known as the Thunderdome. And you had some different leadership and legends in Stateville. And I remember they had brought these young cats in. They had just turned 17. They brought them in from juvenile detention. And I came back from the shower. And I seen a young guy in the cell, and I'm talking to him. And I seen, how he was joking and things. I said, look, the brother, I say, I'm gonna say this to you. I say, I don't want you. I say, I don't know how you gonna take this. I say, actually, I said, if you catch a ticket, I said, try to catch a ticket quick. He said, what you mean? I say, try to get bounced up out of here, man. I say, hopefully to get to Stateville. He said, why? He said, I ain't trying to go to Stateville. I see it's the last, it's still some legends down. I say, man, here I can count on my hands. I say, me, myself, brother John, Lil John, a few more cats at that time was, you know what I'm saying, would invest in them youngsters. I say, but at the time, I said, Stateville would be a better move and get, you know what I'm saying, some examples of, people with backbone. And again, just to see that, I said, if your option be something different, you choose, so be it. But again, anybody gonna give it to us, you know what I'm saying? And we have to be able to, take from these stories, and we look for these Dagwood and Blondie stories, man. It don't exist. And if it did exist, man, it can survive. It can survive in our conditions. You know what I'm saying? We want to run this 9 to 5, blah blah. They lay it out. You know what I'm saying, man? Your pops, man, some man did these different jobs, man, and had to hit 43rd Street, make some moves, make some things happen. You know what I'm saying? Even the families, you know what I'm saying, making sure that the family and the children knew each other, so on and so forth. And this system it's not thing we can't afford to talk about, because everything is designed with our community for the cons outweigh the pros. It's designed to make it like it's some independent decision. We just on our own just jumped up and say, I think I'm gonna decide picking cotton, or I might go just sell crack. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of us have to, say, hey, the cards we've been dealt. People say, oh, here come Chairman Free. I always want to play the race card. I said, you better believe it, because capitalism controls the cards and white power dealt the deck. You know what I'm saying? Capitalism controls the cards and white power dealt the deck. And you know what I'm saying? And we just, our position is, we just ain't gonna be no motherfucking spades around here. You know what I'm saying? Just, fit in. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep our dignity, our pride, our respect, And there's some examples of that. And to the youngsters, you may say, well, I don't see him. I don't know. Sometimes we can't be too out there. We can't stand out. As Field Marshal George Jackson talked about when he was locked up. He said he had to lose weight to blend back into the herd, because motherfuckers like us, they looking to take to the slaughterhouse. You know what I'm saying? And you may get a blend, get a blend in, and you know what I'm saying, to be a lot of us ain't tripping about. As Chairman Fred said, we ain't tripping about down and going to jail. We want to know what y'all want to be doing in the event of our demise. We want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, that it goes home. You know what I'm saying? With some examples. I struggle so much for this here. I seen with this, you know what I'm saying, just examples. I go back even to cats who, now these cats, I'm talking about, they weren't no revolutionaries. I'm talking about, man, different cats in my life. You know what I'm saying? Man, the conversations I had, I overheard them speaking that you know what I'm saying, how they dealt with issues, you know what I'm saying, having a backbone, you know what I'm saying? And I look at that now. I look at people who are deprived of that. You know what I'm saying? I look. It was common. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the different contradictions of the dialogue. You know what I'm saying? How different brothers, how they walk, how different sisters, how they their own style. But you know what I'm saying? But man, again, confidence of who they were. You know what I'm saying? We need that, y'all. We need that again. And it can't be just limited to our, you know what I'm saying, to our block, to our house. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's hard, believe me, because they kill cats for standing up, and so we gotta make our moves count. I pick my moves. It's certain discussions I back up. You know, I say, man, hold on, this one. I mean, when I was in Stateville, cats would say, Chan, why you didn't get this other guy no books? You get the other guy some books. I said, man, they telling me they gonna take me and place me in isolation if I do this, and I'm not tripping about that, but I want to make sure it count. When I came across Big Law, Lil Law's then, who later became known as Big Law, or Lil Bobby Hutton. I said in a poem about him, I say, I seen something in him, I invested something in him. You know what I'm saying? It paid off. And you know what I'm saying? Because we want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, this stuff carries on. Little brother Red called the other day. He said, man, as soon as he left me in one camp, he came across Big Law in the next camp. And I think how that impact his life. You know, and I think about me. I think about, you know what I'm saying, growing up, you know what I'm saying, the war stories and coming in contact with cats, the importance, I'm saying, stuff from body punching and, I mean, just the different dynamics, over here in cats talking about their relationships, their pros and cons, ups and downs, and, man, like how look me and, eye to eye, you know what I'm saying, and, the respect, how we, you know what I'm saying, man, basics, the stuff that we took for granted is being basics, you know what I'm saying? And you got to be careful when you do it out there. It's kind of like in that movie, Planet of the Apes. The third runaround they did on that. The orangutan told the gorilla, he said, man, be cool, man. He said, what's happening? He said, man, the humans don't like no intelligent, man, gorillas, man. Say, be cool. So a lot of times these conversations we can't have, because you know what I'm saying? Because like you were just talking about, you said we could talk about it, but the deal is, man, hey, we can't tell too many of our stories about your pops. They, man, go back and dig him up and lock him back up, using as an example to the rest of us on the plantation, man, breaking process. And that's what we have to talk about. We talk about chattel slavery. They done these, man, these white folks, this system, colonialists, they done some things to us that you can't put in words, that sticks in our bones and our DNA. The fear factor, you know what I'm saying, generation after generation, y'all, you know what I'm saying? So we have to contend with that. We have to acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? And if some cats choose not to be have that backbone, man, at least, hey, man, acknowledge those. I mean, I had cats tell other cats, no, man, man, get out. That's the arena you in. You know what I'm saying? That's the cloth. And at least that option be there. You know what I'm saying? And we just not, everybody ain't come from that cloth. You know what I'm saying? And understand that it's a crime in this system. You know what I'm saying? To have a backbone, you know what I'm saying? Man, woman, a child. With that being said, we fight for the unborn, living in the dead, y'all. Yo, this is Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. coming to y'all live and direct with weekly episode of Freedom Radio, making history, taking history, also Intellectual Radio. We tied in, y'all. They got social media shut down, but we ain't shutting down. If we got to use 2 tin cans and a string, so be it. So be it. How we looking on time, Sister Conrad? 15 more minutes? Okay, that's what it is, y'all. Man, so y'all, condolences. Y'all call in. Y'all feel free to call in, chop it up with us, y'all. Again, y'all see, we say everything political. What's meritorious manumission? Who go back and look historically? Oh man, such and such made it. They made it. Man, such and such got free. He doing, man. Oh, shot, man. I'm doing Steve Harvey at the expense of Bernie Mac or what? Let's know we get some of these different leaders in our community. And who had to get chopped down for them to make it? You did? Run that piece, okay? Run that piece for me. We got to upload what is meritorious manumission. Let's play that real quick. Deputy Field Marshal just text me just then. I can't go live right now. Oh, condolences also, Nikki also, your auntie, brother James also, I think his cousin. Oh no. Okay, yeah. Now, I think this is 9 man. Only this explains meritorious manumission.
There was 2 kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food because he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you could tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. You did. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, the house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today because we still got some house niggers running around here. as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone comes to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? When you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. While you left your mind in Africa.
Many students of human behavior and historians have wondered why enslaved Africans suffered such inhumane treatment for so many centuries and attempted so few to revolt. People don't typically revolt when conditions are so oppressive that they have no hope of succeeding. The slavery system in America was a comprehensive and effective system. Our ancestors were not only outnumbered, but had no weapons to speak of or no training on using them. Confined to plantations, they had little knowledge of the physical terrain of the South. Few could read or write. Their skin color made them highly visible targets for white militia that patrolled the roads night and day to quell potential unrest. Most of the North was still allied with the Southern slaveholders, and blacks did not have irate African nations crossing the Atlantic seeking revenge to free their enslaved people. Even though enslaved Africans considered themselves little more than the working dead, they knew that a failed revolt meant certain death. In both direct and indirect ways, many enslaved Africans found ways to resist, even under the most treacherous of circumstances. Most enslaved Africans were so overwhelmed by the magnitude of their situation that they preferred to withdraw from reality or psychologically join their white oppressors. At a subtle level of resistance, slaves nonetheless responded to white oppression by feigning illness, crippling themselves, committing suicide, poisoning their masters, setting fire to the properties on which they labored. More aggressive enslaved Africans escaped to maroon settlements and Indian communities in the wilderness, where they often plotted against their oppressors. Maroons were groups of enslaved Africans who established their own communities. They routinely raided slave plantations for food, supplies, and to liberate other enslaved Africans. While most slave revolts in America were small and ineffective, at least three chilled the hearts of the American South. The three key revolts were led by Gabriel Prosser in 1800, Denmark Vesey in 1822, and Nat Turner in 1831. These revolts set the stage for the ultimate revolt, the Civil War of the 1860s, that ended slavery as an institution by popular belief. So what inspired these rebellions? Toussaint L'Ouverture, a former carriage driver and natural military genius, led the enslaved Africans of Haiti and the Dominican Republic in a rebellion against Napoleon of France at the end of the 1700s. His army suffered a stunning defeat. This was the only time in the development of the Western world that whites blinked and blacks seized their freedom. To stave off a chain of black revolts in the United States, slaveholders tried in vain to keep the news of the Haitian Revolution from the ears of enslaved Africans in America. L'Ouverture's rebellion made an impact. Reportedly, whenever an enslaved African chafed under chains, this man's name was whispered. So why were there so many unsuccessful slave revolts in North America? To understand that, you got to understand one of his major contributors.
Come on with it. Listen.
Meritorious manumission.
Meritorious manumission.
Legal act of freeing an enslaved African for good deeds as defined by the National Public Policy. Meritorious manumission could be granted to an enslaved African who distinguished himself by saving the life of a master, inventing a new medicine, or snitching on a fellow enslaved person. This was a destructive weapon in the slaveholder's arsenal and a powerful component of the public policy. The importance that whites placed on black informants is emphatically demonstrated with the Haywood Shepherd John Brown incident.
Haywood Shepherd.
Haywood Shepherd, a black reporter from the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad in Harper's Ferry, Virginia, was the first person who was killed by John Brown and his party in their raid the night of October 16, 1859. He recognized the group and tried to ward the town and was killed on sight. There is a 900-pound granite monument there in his honor that reads,
Snitch.
On the night of October 16th, Haywood Shepherd, an industrious, respected colored freeman, was mortally wounded by John Brown's raiders. In pursuance of his duties as an employee, he became a victim of an attempted insurrection. This boulder is erected by the United Daughters of the Confederacy and the Sons of the Confederate Veterans as a memorial to Haywood Shepherd, exemplifying the character and faithfulness of thousands of Negroes who, under many temptations through subsequent years of war, so conducted themselves that no stain was left upon a record which in its peculiar heritage of the American people, the everlasting tribute to the best of both races. So he was rewarded for placing the way of life of the white citizens of Harper's Ferry above the welfare of his own people. Meritorious manumission was not only used as an instrument to reward blacks, but was a device for destroying black unity and race loyalty. It created a very effective informant system. The meritorious manumission policy introduced a strong element of distrust among enslaved Africans and made it more difficult for enslaved Africans to organize a revolt. The psychological techniques used were designed to drive wedges between enslaved Africans and to train them to trust no other than the white slave master. Meritorious manumission was first instituted in Virginia in 1710. According to Peter M. Bergman's The Chronological History of Negro in America, the technique of meritorious manumission was adopted by all the colony. The first use in Virginia of the legislative power to break the bonds of an enslaved person was made in the year of 1710.
Give me 2 more minutes on this, then we're going to...
Cited for discouraging a slave conspiracy in the colony and in recognition and reward of the public service, an act was passed conferring freedom upon him. This act of freedom read, the said Negro will, is, and shall forever hereafter be free from slavery, and shall enjoy and have all the liberties, privileges, and immunities of or to a free Negro belonging. The Act of Freedom restored some of the liberties, privileges, and immunities that Maryland's public edict took from blacks in 1638. This national discipline policy was so successful that in more than 250 years of slavery, there was not one successful slave revolt in America. Of the mere 150 to 200 attempts of slave insurrection, in nearly every instance, the slave revolts were prematurely exposed. Unfortunately, the informant in nearly every instance was a black person. Social engineering effectively destroyed most of the sense of community, trust, and accountability. Though undocumented, many black Americans believe that soon after this inception, meritorious manumission was merged into what we now call Willie Lynchism. According to popular belief, Willie Lynch offered mind-controlling ideology to destroy black people's sense of community as he was a professional slave trainer. He proposed that slave masters create divisions among blacks and separate them along the lines of gender, age, tribe, culture, class, rank, and skin color. To this day, the effect of Willie Lynchism continues to encourage black individualism, selfishness, and self-hatred.
Selfishness, self-hatred.
Manumission has a lot of similarities with the communist prisons of war brainwashing program of the American soldiers. The only difference is that the prisoners of war who survived were hospitalized and deprogrammed.
Hospitalized and deprogrammed.
Has never been offered to Black Americans.
Black folks never got that.
Manumission and Willie Lynch's conditioning broke out well. Only a few thousand or more than 5 million enslaved Africans ever attempted an escape. Out of the 252 known slave revolts, there was a black informant nearly every time. Many
Let me know if you can cut off, comrade. If you can't cut off, I'm gonna speak over it a little bit. I get. Give me a pause. Let me jump in. Y'all continue on this. Let me. I hope I can be heard. I'm gonna close out with this here. On the boards, if you can't pull this off down for me for a minute, I'm gonna say this. Leave with this here. Understand why Hayward Shepherd's marker is held up by the sons and daughters of the Confederate. Why they want you to remember Hayward Shepherd, as opposed to why Chairman Fred Hampton's tombstone is shot up annually every year in Haynesville, Louisiana. Understand why athletes and entertainers can donate to different other groups, but they have not come through the campaign to say the Hampton House. Let's call the question. We appreciate y'all. And also, we heard some stuff about our brother, Hosea Jackson. His loss impacts the family, y'all. I'm going to say this here. Y'all make sure. I think it's Daphne Jackson at Cash App. Whatever you can, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, we know that impact on not only family but the community. Whatever you can support, you know what I'm saying? The funeral is this Saturday, 123rd in Michigan. Daphne Jackson at Cash App. I hope I'm saying it right. I think it's the right. Whatever support you can do with that, come on with it, y'all. Come on with it. Also, keep y'all ears out this Saturday, Triple C's, 2 o'clock. But we're going to be at the funeral 10 to 12. And you know how people, we're gonna be all day thing, y'all. We're gonna be talking about the life and legacy of Hosey. We're gonna be at the Hosey's daughter. Real talk, y'all. Keep y'all ears up. Aslan Fist Clinch, another episode, Fremont Radio and Intellectual Radio. See y'all same time, same station again. Let's make history, let's take history, let's take picture, y'all. Right on, Fremont. You make me wanna drive by, pull up to your house tonight. You got me on